This week on the podcast, it's just us boys. We talk about some aliens, Fireteam Elite, some new potential regulations coming out of the EU as well as the UK. All of that and more in this week's episode of the podcast. Roll the intro. Hello and welcome to Next to Nothing, a podcast for gamers on a budget. I am your host, Daniecae. With me, as always, the wonderful, the beautiful, the Mr. Green Elite. Green, how are you doing today, baby boo?
I'm feeling real cute, real hot. I'm doing good. How you doing, Danny?
I'm doing pretty good. Tired, very tired, but I am excited this week.
I didn't want to crawl out of bed today. To be honest, like I got up at a reasonable time. You'd be proud of me. I got up at 8 o'clock. Yeah, 8 o'clock. Yeah, ate some breakfast and started my day. So to a lot of nothing.
Nice. With us this week, our new co-host, back for we didn't scare him off on the first week, so this is his second week on the show as a co-host. Mendacii, how you doing?
Doing great, man. Thanks again. Just really excited to kind of dig into this week. It was a pretty fun week.
Yeah, lots of news to talk about too. I need to come up with some sort of Rev was the powerful, the beautiful, Green is the wonderful, the beautiful. I gotta figure something out for you, but I'm not quite sure what yet.
The homeless, the shaggy,
the disheveled.
yeah, that works. I'm a big fan of in Bloodborne, you can pick like one of your base classes. It's like you are worthless, you are meaningless, you're worth nothing. Like it's just like a weird Japanglish block of text. I'll have to send it to you.
Yeah,
we could make something out of it. It's me.
Yeah. So we're gonna figure that out. We're gonna figure it out together. Guys, thanks for watching and listening to the show. If you miss any part of the show, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found. If you guys want to join us live, you can do that on Twitch every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. If you guys want to be a part of the show, you can answer the question of the week. Last week, we asked you guys what your favorite Nicolas Cage movie was. This week, in honor of International Podcasting Day, which is this Thursday, it's September 30th, we're asking you, what other podcasts are you enjoying? Are you guys cheating on us with other podcasts? Let us know.
Even the worst.
Yes, and feel free to tag, like if you guys are in the chat, if you guys are on Twitter or on the YouTube comment section, feel free to tag us or tag them as well. I'm going to kind of go around here real quick. Mendacii, what kind of podcasts have you been listening to?
So I have a very specific niche of podcasts that I like to listen to. I really like Last Podcast on the Left for like crime and like esoteric nonsense, listening about like aliens and cryptids and shit. Super awesome. Otherwise, I like my tabletop RPG podcast. So Ain't Slayed Nobody is a fantastic, started out with nothing. And that's a Call of Cthulhu pod. Their first campaign just ended and it's all like Wild West. Fucking awesome. And everyone on the crew is great. They're also like full of Patreon rewards that are honestly very cheap to get to. And fantastic. You can find them literally everywhere. Big recommend.
Yeah, which by the way, Last Podcast on the Left is one of my absolute fucking favorites.
That's how I met my fiance.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you both go to like a murder site together at the same time and be like, "Oh, hi, looking real cute"?
Yeah. So it was like really cool. It was almost like a pilgrimage for us when they came to Des Moines. And we finally got to see them together live.
Wait, was that 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
2 years ago.
I was there too.
What? Yo! That is mind blowing.
It's a small world.
Yeah.
It's like, funny. It's funny, Mendacii, because now all of the hosts of the show all live within like the same like geographic area.
spitting distance.
Yeah, literally. Like I passed Mendacii to go see Green.
Yeah, and you don't even
Yeah.
stop to give me a smooch. And
Yeah,
what's worse than an emotional like hookup, man?
right.
Like,
Yeah, so it's been funny like the last little while, like we keep finding like, oh yeah, we totally know like a bunch of the same
oh
people,
my
but we've like
God,
never
yeah.
met in person.
Yeah, yeah. And like we were talking about music and stuff, and it's like, oh, we were in the same places at the same time 7 8 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
That we saw the same bands, like, all the same local bands. You apparently work with a friend of mine that I just, yeah. So it's been funny. But going back to podcasts, Greenleaf, what have you been listening to lately? What have you been enjoying?
I have been listening to a few things from Dimension 20.
ooh,
Specifically Brendan Lee Mulligan. And I do have to give a shout out to Pax and Kyle over at Brotakus. Even though their shit take on Demon Slayer is pure garbage. But yeah, the Brotakus, I love them. They both have all of them have voices of angels. Okay, something I aspire to sound like. We'll never achieve, but yeah, Brotakus, and then the Game Deflators. I've been watching or listening. I should say listening to the Game Deflators frequently. And we've done something with them a while ago.
Yeah, they've been on my regular Monday rotations, like on my way home.
Yeah.
And I
And
can't.
then
Go ahead.
oh, sorry, I was gonna say Tess and Elliot argues as well. So
Yeah. When it came to the Game Deflators, like they're on my regular Monday rotation, like when I drive home, and I keep forgetting. I'm like, man, I really need to get these guys back on the show. Like we need to do something with them again, and I keep forgetting to reach out. So if you guys are listening, if you
hey,
guys,
how you doing?
how you doing?
How you doing?
Let's do something again. For me lately, a lot of last podcasts on the left. I've been listening to the Think Media podcast to get more ideas and like how to grow the show and stuff like that. That's been really fun. And then the WAN show, the Linus Tech Tips WAN show.
Oh, why do I always forget that? I don't view that as a podcast for some reason in my brain.
Yeah, I mean,
I listened to that too.
it kind of like isn't like it. I mean, it kind of depends on your definition of a podcast. Like, is Next to Nothing really a podcast? I don't know. But
Who knows?
it's available on podcast platforms, so I listen to it on my commute.
Guys, Next to Nothing is just three guys talking shit and
Yeah.
having a good time. You know, it doesn't matter what
that's-
format you classify them as.
that's exactly how my other podcast is with one person less. You know, like we just so we watched a movie and this was cool. This was not cool. We think you should watch it.
Yeah. What's
And
that
we
other podcast
we
called?
wink into the microphone. That's podcast for two people on literally everything. It's like I think we're at like 120 or 130 episodes or something like that. But yeah, we cover mainly movies, but also like heads of industry for the video games. Like that's a history. So like we did let's see here. Tomonobu Itagaki, the guy behind Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive, and that's like a biography that we had done over him, and so we covered all of his work and his life. We did one for CD Projekt Red. We've done one for Evo in the past, so like the history of Evo, the history of arcade games, and like all the way from penny arcades to barcades and stuff like that. Otherwise, we do a lot of movies. We've done some anime, some video game series, stuff like that.
Yeah. So guys, those are some podcast suggestions for all of you guys to go check out. Again, if you have some suggestions for your fellow viewers, let them fly in the Twitch chat or in the YouTube comments, or even tweet at us. You can tag them. That would be super dope.
Someone please tweet me.
So
I'm lonely.
Give them some love. Mendacii, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. Set us on fire with Aliens Fireteam Elite.
Sick. Yeah. God, I love this game. It is clunky. It is beautiful disaster piece, to say like the least, but I actually have quite a bit to say. So I hope you're ready for an audio wall. Pause for beverage take. Refreshing. So, nearly every person knows about the film franchise Alien. It's been a staple in pop culture since its release in 1979, directed by Ridley Scott and featuring Sigourney Weaver playing as one of the most prolific protagonists of all time, Ellen Ripley. The shockwave of the franchise can be seen in every sci-fi game that is released from 1980 to today. But there have also been a plethora of tie-in games to the franchise. The first one having come out in 1982 on the Atari, which played kind of like Pac, shared the film's name. Since then, we've had a majority of not so great or underwhelming tie-in titles, with the last award-winning title being Alien Isolation, which released in 2014.
Real quick, you kind of cut out there for just a second. You said it plays kind of like what?
Oh, Pac-Man.
Gotcha.
And it shares the film's name. Sorry about that.
You're all good.
We're still on a peasant setup. I'm so sorry.
All right, so the newest tie-in game pushes itself further away from the unvaried and tired references of the films, and it's better for it. Today we dive into Aliens Fireteam Elite, which is a 3-player, third-person, over-the-shoulder shooter that blends in just the right amount of player customization, loadouts, perk trees, scares, intensity, and difficulty that it makes you feel almost as cool and deadly as Doomguy. So this was developed and partially published by Cold Iron Studios. The game performs remarkably well despite its humble origins most of the time. Now, Cold Iron Studios has a history of working on middling MMOs like City of Heroes and Star Trek Online, and yet somehow they put this incredibly fun and great to look at game together. The visuals are stunning in every chapter, of which there are currently 12, with more on the way at some undisclosed time. Each chapter is about 30 minutes long and hosts a mess of terrible Xenos and great voice acting from Fireteam characters and their commanding officer. The atmospheric sounds, music, and of course Xenomorph screams are intense, stunning, and downright bone-chilling at times. Though there are also audio glitches, crashes, breaks in quality on last-gen systems such as my PS4 Pro, but the visuals are just as jaw-dropping in every room, hallway, and chapter. If you're playing this on a PC, the game requires a minimum of Windows 10, an AMD Athlon X4 950 or an Intel i5 processor, 8 gigs of RAM, and an AMD R9 285 or NVIDIA GTX 760 graphics card, DirectX 11, and 30 gigs of space, and of course, integrated or dedicated DirectX 11 compatible sound card. So that's the minimum requirement, and that's what they have on their Steam page. For the most part, online for PS4 Pro, it's rubber banding at times, of which on this highlight video, you can probably kind of see some catches in the visuals there. On last gen consoles, the game performs pretty close to like 30 frames per second when it's kind of thick, and it's typically at 1080p. Though on my streams, I've found that I have to actually show this off at, say, 720. Otherwise, it just kind of chugs. Streaming Fireteam Elite, I've run into several other issues of the game being poorly optimized for the system, and I have suffered game crashes or freezing while being mobbed by hungry acid-spewing Xenos. Right now, Aliens Fireteam Elite is priced at $39.99 for the standard edition on every digital storefront, and $69.99 for a deluxe edition, which actually includes their DLC season pass and one of 2 DLC packs that give players new costumes, guns, weapon skins, weapon decals, emotes, and challenge cards. In case you just want to test the game out before, say, taking the dive into a $70 purchase, they also have an option to purchase a deluxe edition upgrade for only $34.99, should you choose to do so down the road, which I did, and I'm very thankful for. The mission setups of this game are somewhat lacking when it comes to variety as well. The fire team starts up in a safe location, moves to their first objective, whether that be a computer console, a point of interest to scan, or machinery to repair. A massive horde then batters you for about 5 minutes and you keep going. The cycle repeats 3 or so times per mission. While that may sound boring on paper, I assure you that with their interesting classes, ways to set up defending positions, and extremely fun gunplay and intense combat, it does not get old even when replaying missions, which you'll have to do from time to time in order to net some great loot from the daily and weekly challenges it puts in front of you. Players gain credits and a rarer currency known as rep for completing missions, chapters, dailies, weeklies, or even the horde mode, which opens up after you overcome 4 chapters of the story. Credits allow you to purchase a myriad of guns, attachments, perks, and consumables, while rep is used to purchase aesthetics like weapon skins, costumes, and accessories and challenge cards. You can then use those challenge cards to increase rewards for completing missions by sometimes taking on additional difficulties, such as like your gun randomly jamming, forcing you to manually reload it, or having to net 200 headshot kills during the mission as a group. You're not beholden to playing with 2 friends if you don't wish to, however. Players can employ the company of 1 or 2 battle-ready synths in co-op or solo play to fill up the 3-player squad. They're named Alpha and Beta, and while not amazing, are certainly workhorses on lower difficulties. If you really start to amp that up, they're basically useless and cannon fodder at best. That being said, should you try to take on some of those higher difficulties, you're really going to want some friends that are, say, more well-versed in the game, your character and your weapons included. So you are going to want to try and scale up if you're going to take on those harder difficulties. While this is great, there's no chat if you did want to jump in with randos. So there's no Fireteam chat. There's, I mean, obviously the PlayStation chat, but otherwise matchmaking kind of sucks too. They've been updating here and there, typically every Wednesday, and it's getting there. And while this may dissuade some, I think that if you choose to pick up Fireteam Elite, you'd probably have fun playing one of 6 classes. There's the Gunner, the Demolisher, the Doc, Technician, Recon, and the recently released class, the Phalanx. All classes have 2 activated skills and 1 passive. This is typically an active skill that mainly focuses on buffing teammates or debuffing enemies or letting loose a heavy damage attack while also kind of boosting your own skills. Fireteam Elite has 0 microtransactions or loot boxes and has been vocal that they have no plans to add them in the future. And Cold Iron Studios has already, worked on bringing in major updates. There's been a lot of work against bugs. They are listening to the player base. They've already dropped that new class. And there's been a couple pretty hindering bugs, but they're usually pretty quick to try and clean them up quite a bit. Right now, there's, I believe, 3 DLC packs, and I don't think any of them go over $10. If you're a last-gen user like myself, I would maybe give it a month or 2 for more updates to clean up some of its more game-crashing bugs before making, say, the deluxe purchase. But I would still recommend supporting Cold Iron Studios and making the $40 purchase. If you'd rather wait for a sale, I could see a drop in price coming our way in the holiday season and likely putting it around, say, $25 to $30 US. But that pretty much covers everything that I have about Fireteam Elite. It's been great playing with my fiance as well as my co-host Brent over from a podcast for 2 people. And we've been playing that semi-regularly. It's a lot of fun. It really is. Do you have any questions, Danny or Green?
You said it's a good pickup for $25 to $30, right?
Yes, like it would be great. I mean, right now, brand new, it's 40, but I could see it coming out, say 25, 30 come holiday season, at which point I would say absolutely get it because it's had so many months of updates behind it.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that Brent has said that the PC version is much more smooth.
Yeah.
He actually just said as much in the chat.
Hmm.
So he's been having a great time. So he's purchased 2 different editions of the game.
Yeah.
And I mean, as far as I could tell, he's had a blast.
Yeah. So I do have a question about the different console versions. Is this a game where you could get like a PS5 free upgrade if you purchase it on PS4?
I believe so.
Mhm.
I believe so. I didn't read that close, but I believe so.
Gotcha.
And there's no crossplay to it?
Zero crossplay, sadly.
How
And they have
unfortunate.
they don't have plans to do it in the future because it is so damn expensive to pay Sony for that crossplay.
Yeah. Yeah, Sony, if unfortunately the Sony side of things typically don't get crossplay unless it is a top tier game that makes a lot of money, where they can make it, where they can justify it.
And like I said, no microtransactions, and they've worked on like pretty much nothing. Like, go ahead and Google Cold Iron Studios because they've got like nothing to their name, man. It's crazy that they fucking came out with this game. It is beautiful.
Yeah. And then someone in chat just said, Brent actually just said, yeah, you get both the PS4 and PS5 version.
Thanks, buddy.
Which is excellent. I mean, that at this point, if I'm a PS4 owner, I don't know how much I really want to spend on games on the PS4 unless I know I can also play them on the PS5.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I might be wrong. Since I'm not a console player, you know, someone can be more than willing to tell me like I'm wrong in terms of like how.
I mean, I'm not going to tell you that. I mean,
like,
in 3 years when I get a PS5, I'm going to be so happy that I can play all the PS4 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only like 10 people who had the PS5, so
I think so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were 9 last year, so there might be 10 this year.
Yeah. Well, I was actually streaming. This is just kind of as a quick aside. I was streaming on Sunday night, and one of the regular viewers, Npash, came in and said that he was actually able to get a PS5, which was pretty
Lucky
dope.
bastard.
I'm like, you're like the second person I know who's been able to get one.
Did he get it? Did he get it at markup, or did he get it from?
So he got it from a local gaming chain, who was able to. He basically put money down, and they put him on a list.
Okay.
And then they got a restock, and he was on the list.
Yeah, because there's just no way. I can't justify going on like Amazon or eBay and spending that scalper markup price. Like,
yeah.
I know people. I have a buddy who did that exact same thing. I can't bring myself to do that for PC parts, let alone a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
That I'm only going to use for 2 titles.
The PS4 Pro is also really high up in price right now. I think that when we were hanging out last week, I was looking at PS4 Pros, and I think they're still going for like $500, $600.
Yeah, and mine's a shelf ornament.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I don't know. I just like the only reason I ever want a PS5 is for God of War and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And like I can't justify spending that amount of money for 2 titles. Plus buying the game on top of that. So,
yeah. Anything else on Aliens Fireteam Elite?
Nah, man, it's gorgeous, but it is chunky and clunky, and I think that given more time, it's just going to be a better title.
Yeah, I got you. That's would you say you have pretty tall expectations for it?
Right now, I mean, like, I'm having fun with it. I think that as things do get better, it'll be easier to have fun with it. Does that make sense? Because like you have to deal with a certain level of jank and be like, oh, that's fine. You know, when I'm playing with my fiance, there's times where she's like, all right, dude, like I can't deal with this right now. Like I'm either rubber banding too much, or when you throw down a sentry turret, sometimes everyone's game literally like freezes for 2-3 seconds. It's
Oof.
insane. She got grabbed by one of the large xenomorph warriors at one point, actually during the same stream that highlight is from. And the xenomorph was half into the wall, which meant that my bullets could not stop it from like thrashing her. And it goes into a cutscene, much like it would in, say, like Left 4 Dead or Back 4 Blood or anything like that. So, like, there's button presses and the hopes and prayers that your friends will come and save you. So, yeah, like without being able to fire at it, it's just like, no, you can't do anything. It's up to Jesus now.
You know, imagine having it cut like a segue that's so bad that one of the co-hosts didn't even know it was a segue. How
Yeah,
does that make you feel, Daniecae?
makes me feel awful. So that segue was pretty janky. Green, I think you played a janky mess, right?
I wouldn't say a janky mess. It was short. So I picked up a game a few days ago. I saw it on TikTok. It was called Tall Poppy. It was on itch.io. It's $2.99. There's like no option to get it for free. And then tip the creator later. I do have to say it's a very, very short game. But that doesn't mean it was bad. The premise of the game is like your wife calls you on the phone. Very annoying. She's like, "Hey, I left my purse in the graveyard. Can you pick it up after work? Okay, thanks. Bye." Like, word for word. So you're in the parking lot. That's how you start the game. You go in to like a faculty building, to get like the key to the church, and then from there the church down to the crypts, and then from the crypts to the graveyard, and then back to your car. So each like segment needs a key that you need to pick up. There's locked doors, stuff like that. And this game isn't like necessarily horror. It is like a comedy infused with jump scares. The ghost's name is Tall Poppy, and when he was alive, he was a prankster. One of the notes like explains that you need to fire the gravedigger Poppy because he is pissing off all the other gravediggers. Apparently he went into the crypt and got possessed and died or something like that. Now he is a ghost that is trying to prank you to death. And like so like there are jump scares. Like I swore multiple times. Like cuz like it was a pop out of nowhere kind of thing. But as I said, it was very short. I finished this in 20 minutes. Which is not a lot of time, especially if I'm spending money on it. There was like a few interactions like with trying to pick up like the key and stuff like that was kind of difficult to like get it to like the certain range that I need to be to pick the key up. So but other than that, like the game played well, the movement was fine. The interactions that you did have with the ghost Tall Poppy were both jump scare and hilarious. There's one point where he pops out behind the statue and he's like, "Ka-chow!" out of nowhere. Or like he's like, you hear a voice that says, "Look behind you," and then you look behind you, no one's there. But then all of a sudden he pops out of the corner. He's like, "You fell for the look behind you trick." It was funny. I don't know. It's hard for me to say that you should pick this up. Seeing it did cost a whole $3. If it was a little bit longer, I feel like it would be worth the $3. So this is more of like a buy at your own discretion. I would say for me personally, it was I got some laughs out of it, and I spent more money on dumber things. So, um, yeah, I liked it. It wasn't like super scary. I don't do horror games. Everyone knows I hate horror games. So this one for me, it was more of like, the jump scares, which I hate, but there was some comedic relief to it. So it wasn't like I was gonna, die of a heart attack or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. It was very simple. There's only like 2 buttons for interaction. There's an action 1 and an action 2. I think E to pick things up, F to like open doors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then there's the hand model is kind of indie looking, and then you can turn the flashlight on and off. So
yeah,
it was funny.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned, right, the you thought the cost was pretty steep for how short this was.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think the appropriate amount would be? And then if we like maybe reverse it and said this is like how we've kind of discussed before with itch.io, that like pay for what you want, and like, if you went back and wanted to tip them, what would you do?
If I honestly, I'm a sucker for tipping. So honestly, I probably would have tipped $5 because that's how I tip. I'm a big tipper. Since it was a set price, I honestly I would rather see the game for maybe $1.99.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, $3, like $3 isn't bad.
No,
it was short, like, and again, and it explains at the beginning, like after you click, start game, that it is more of like a reaction game to like, it implores you to record your reaction to the game.
Yeah.
And your friends and family. So it's hard to say. Like, personally, I would have preferred to pay $1.99 for it, but I'm not upset that I paid $3.
Yeah. Well, I guess
now,
that makes sense because they're marketing it as like a reaction thing, so people aren't going to necessarily play it for the story, I guess, right? So there's not really the option to the word of mouth will be showing off the entire story, right? It's not like gameplay footage of a first person shooter or something like that, where that in a sense is marketing the game. It's like the way that the devs set that up. It's like, yeah, like you get the full experience by watching other people play it. So that makes sense that they would set a definitive price on the product then. Like that makes sense to me. So I can't really fault them for it.
This is coming from someone who's paid $30 on the Batman VR game. Okay. And if you've ever heard or played of the Batman VR game, I bought it on the PlayStation VR. I think it like, while the VR is cool, it's like you run through that VR game in like 30 minutes.
Oof.
And like you don't actually fight people. You like target them and then like something else like attacks them. So like that to me was not worth the investment. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But this I'm okay with spending $3 on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've spent worse money on shittier things.
Yeah.
So
gotcha.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, as I said, I didn't shit my pants or anything like that because there was some humor to it.
Mm-hmm. Mendacii, what do you think?
I think that people do absolutely spend more money or the same amount of money on stupider things. Like $3 could, fill you up and then give you the shits later. That a lot of people also spend money on, say, like premium Snapchat filters. And that's just ridiculous.
I thought you were going for premium Snapchats, and I'm like, don't you dare call me out. Kidding.
Those are typically a little bit more than $3, to be honest. But if you have a premium Snapchat for $3, hike up those prices, baby.
Hey, my OnlyFans is free to subscribe.
Hey, now that's a steal. What can I see on your OnlyFans, though, Mr.
Absolutely
Green?
nothing. I have
Yeah,
not posted
okay.
a single
All
thing on
right.
it.
Yeah. Well,
But I can. I'll post
free for
something for you.
nothing. Yeah, do it. Do it. Show
Ponytail
me
shots.
show me some leg. Oh, ponytail shots is perfect.
I do have some massive calves.
Oh yeah, I bet those things. I would love to throw those on a grill, watch them smoke. Anyway, so I think that as far as like marketed, sure, $3 is fine, but it's kind of funny because I'm the exact same way, Mr. Green. Like, if this game would have been free, I played, I'd be like, oh well, hey, thanks for making a thing. Here's $5. Like looking at anything else that's like relatively around the same length on itch.io, I feel like when you did Angerfoot, I was like, man, I would honestly probably buy this on something like a Nintendo Switch for $10, Danny. Like I would fuck around on that and just be like, yeah, it's cool, it's fun, it's whatever. Like I've played dumber shit. Or like, anytime that you play a cell phone game and waste money on it. But yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling that we're going to see more of those. Hashtag react videos always just like, it feels scummy to me because it's almost like, oh, how do you want to put it? Like the big thing happened and that had lots of viewers and interactions. Now let me see if I can get my like little piece of the pie, my little crumb by just going, oh shit, oh, for like, like 15, 20, whatever minutes of the
That's
whole
literally
thing.
TikTok.
Yeah.
It's like half of TikTok right there.
So,
It's like there'll be people with videos and they're just stitching the video or duetting the video of this like awesome video, and they're just sitting there, and it has more views than the original video, and it pisses me off to no end.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like that's like an old fucking YouTube thing too. Like that's been around fucking ever, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
There's some annoying one that posts on Facebook all the time, or I see on Facebook all the time. It's that guy, and they're like, he's a younger guy, and he's like, "We're gonna try not to say what during the video and stuff like that." It's just like they're so ungodly annoying.
Yeah, yeah. But I guess in closing, it almost feels like to me that it's very well camouflaged bait for, say, someone who does do these react videos on YouTube to play this to get some, genuine jump scares and stuff like that, because genuine reactions sell a lot better when, you're a terrible fucking actor. Like some of these react people where like, they'll go and they'll watch the video, and so like they can thumbnail like where everything goes. So like they know, like be like, no, what? No. You know what I mean? Like it's a play. So spending $3 to get a 20-minute or 30-minute content video for your YouTube channel that does hashtag react videos, I wonder if that's also part of the play here. I mean, you know what? Maybe I'm looking too deep into it. Maybe I'm just based and red pilled. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think it's the first time anyone has ever said the phrase based and red pilled on the show.
I'm so happy it could be me. When do I get my like
your ribbon
depository trophy? No, I want like a full size trophy. Yeah. That's all I have, Green.
How about a comically large paycheck, like a check, but like written out to a certain amount, but it never be cashable?
Yeah.
You can't take a giant check and be like to the bank and be like, "Hey, I want to cash this in." They don't do that.
Sir, this is for 500 million Tostito pizza rolls. And be like, cash up, bitch.
It's my pizza rolls.
I've been trying to eat healthy, so saying pizza rolls makes me sad.
Oh yeah, same for sure.
So, anything else on Tall Poppy at all?
No. I as I said, I thought it was very, fun. It was fun.
Yeah. Well,
short but fun.
Yeah, Mendacii, you were just mentioning like the reaction videos. I'm gonna go on ahead and do my best impression of those guys while you tell us about the Nintendo Direct that we just had.
Yeah, what a job. Okay, actually, this Nintendo Direct didn't fucking suck. And I have something about every single thing. So like you're gonna get my like I wrote this as I watched the Nintendo Direct. So this is actually almost a hashtag write up review of the Nintendo Direct.
So is this like a big one?
I mean, not really. I mean, like I'm gonna like read to you my thoughts on each individual segment and like what they are, but also give you the actual information in case you care more than I do about some of this stuff. So
All
if you're
right.
ready, here comes my Nintendo Direct breakdown.
Go for it,
First
baby
and
boo.
foremost, right off the top, they dropped a fucking trailer for MH Rise Sunbreak. Oh my god. Oh my god. So good. So it's a giant DLC expansion set for summer 2022, and it's likely sizable if it's anything like Monster Hunter World's Iceborne update, which was basically an entire game added on top of the game with hundreds more hours and tons more content, an entire new end game, so much, dude, like new mechanics and everything. And that was $30. It's crazy. So anyway, they showed a new Elder Dragon, and it kind of looks like a black Fatalis mixed with a pink Espinas. And if you've never played those games, it sounds like I'm speaking gibberish, but I have no clue what that dragon is. What were you saying?
I said, yeah, I have no idea. It sounds like you're speaking gibberish to me.
Yeah, they're cool. They're dragons. They're neat. They're very
dragons
difficult
are
to fight.
cool.
Well, dragons are cool. So yeah, we're likely looking at new mechanics, a new story arc, new areas, and tons more stuff. But there will be a showcase on the 30th. And just to be an online bigot, I would love to do a watch along for it if I can get my PC set up. But honestly, I just kind of want to like hang out and watch this with people that also care about it. But that's on September 30th as like a Capcom showcase for Monster Hunter Rise. So yeah, maybe we'll talk about that later. The next thing that they talked about was Mario Party Superstars, which kind of looked like a Mario Party like best of. Really fun looking maps, great mini games, along with like a mini game only mode with online rankings and like a survival mode to see how many of these mini games you can do in a row without losing. And there's like 7 different courses for these online mini game only things. The game can be played 100% online as well. So if we never get out of COVID times, or your friend doesn't want to make the trek 45 minutes to come and give you smooches on his way to see his other friend that lives a little further away, you can still play Mario Party Superstars online. And that launches on October 29th. Here's a name that some of you might be familiar with, Yoko Taro. Near Automata. You've got things like Drakengard. Well, anyway, he's the weird fellow that wears the giant round mask with the big smile, and it's like stitched together and stuff. It looks very nightmare-y. Anyway, that dude is actually bringing us a tabletop RPG that's like turn-based, and it's cards. So if you've played things like Hand of Fate or Gwent, this is totally up your alley. This is called Voice of Cards, the Isle Dragon Wars. Yeah, I don't know. It's a super Japanese title anyway. That comes out October 28th. The demo's out now, and it is fucking sick. I am probably going to spend quite a bit of time on this. Because there are a lot of cards to get, and you need all the cards. You need all of the waifus, and it's Yoko Taro, so we're probably going to see some pretty cute cards. Just saying. Anyway, next thing that kind of came in was a jaw dropper. Nintendo continues to make good on its past mistakes by bringing over controversial and actually mature titles to their system. The fact that I saw Disco Elysium, the final cut, on a Nintendo Direct has completely like destroyed my mental well-being. It's one of the best games that I've ever played. It's going to be on your Nintendo Switch. I can't really say much more. That comes out, I believe, at the end of October, and you'll actually be able to grab a regular material, tangible copy of this for your Nintendo Switch next year. The next thing that they talked about was a new Hyrule Warriors DLC. Kind of comes out of nowhere. I don't know who's playing it or who they're making this DLC for, but I'm sure that some people are very excited, especially people that can't get enough of the XXX and the YYY, any Warriors game. Anyway, this DLC is called Age of Calamity, and it is, again, non-canon, so you can cry about that online as well. Does anyone care? Maybe. No. Do I? No. But if you like those kinds of games, hopefully it makes better on the title that's already been out a while, that totally lacked content and has been kicked around for a long time. That comes out October 29th, and they also announced at the end of that they would add more content soon after that with some new characters. Final Fantasy now has a kart racing game.
I saw this.
Chocobo GP Grand Prix, I believe.
Yeah.
And so let me read verbatim what I wrote. Why does Final Fantasy now have a kart game? And fuck this. Fuck it. I need it. I never knew I needed it. And to be honest, at first I was totally against it, but fuck me. They got my number. I'm here for it, but I got to wait till some random time in 2022. Yeah, I had no idea. It looks great. It looks like it handles fine. There's all these summons from Final Fantasy 8, 9, 7. I didn't see any from 10 technically, but yeah, it's super chibi, super cute, looks fun, I guess. And what's a Nintendo Direct without more fucking Smash news? Thankfully, however, it's the last time that we're going to get Smash news, because Sakurai's last reveal over the past 3 years comes out October 5th. And I hope to God that he comes out with, like, he's on like the walking kind of medical IV, and he's just like looking sickly and dead and pale, and he just says, "Never ask me for anything ever again." But he's supposed to show us the very last fighter that they're adding into Smash Bros. And I really hope it's another sword player, just so that people can get pissed some more. Just this salt gives me life. There was another really big reveal. Fucking Kirby, dude! Honestly, though, like, Kirby games kick major ass, and this one looks especially awesome. There's some really fantastic level design, and this is actually really big for the series, especially if you're a Kirby fan. It's not on rails. It is completely three-dimensional. Like, you can walk around a whole landscape. You're not just holding, left or right and jumping. You're literally walking around that bitch. He's finally got his own legs. It's crazy. But Kirby Forgotten Land drops in the spring of 22. I'll probably be playing that. I'm going to be honest. It's going to sound like I'm dogging on a lot of these things, but honestly, I love a lot of the stuff that's coming out here. Somehow, Nintendo also didn't snub Animal Crossing. Years of silence between New Leaf and New Horizons, and now we get an Animal Crossing Direct, its own separate announcement series, starting in October, that talks release of content coming in November. It's wild. Then again, I think that Animal Crossing New Horizons made Nintendo a shitload of money last year during the pandemic. So hopefully they actually start listening to fans. because that is a massive community, and people who otherwise didn't have Switches before definitely do now. Mario Golf Super Rush is getting new content because that's, but they're adding new characters and 2 new courses. I've never played Mario Golf, but I hear it slaps, so have at it. A weird, confusing Bandai Namco 3DS ported game about Disney characters is coming. Neat. Yay. Why was this in the Nintendo Direct? KOTOR, the first one, is being ported over to the Switch as well on 11/11. That's a super fucking rad game, and it is one of the greatest RPGs ever made. If you have yet to play this and you're a big Switch fan, go and grab it. It's probably fine on the Switch, probably plays better docked, but we're talking about an original Xbox title. There's better places to play it, but hey, you can play it on the go, I suppose. Thumbs up. It's great. Dying Light 2 is coming as well, I suppose. Was that good? I have no idea. Danny Green, did you guys actually ever look at anything Dying Light?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, cool. Parkour Undead Time. It's Dead Island. It's whatever. They like all these like cookie cutter games that kind of came out in the same time. Well, anyway, Dying Light 2 is coming to the Switch along with the first Dying Light. Dying Light 2 comes out February 4th. First one comes out October 29th. Mm-hmm. Sure. Snatch it if you want it.
I think both of those are pretty graphical intense. I don't know how well they're going to perform on the Switch.
Yeah, they looked pretty intense, like honestly downright insane, looking at it on the Nintendo Direct. So, and
it's probably not going to look that good.
Probably not.
It's probably going to look like Apex on the Switch.
Right, or Witcher 3. Anyone remember when they decided to port that over? And you need to give your entire Switch to Witcher 3?
Yeah, and then, of course, Skyrim doesn't even look good on the Switch.
Oh, no, it doesn't. Oh, it does, actually. Triangle Strategy, which is strangely familiar to Octopath Traveler, which is another 2.5D isometric turn-based strategy game and RPG, apparently cleaned up considerably from the demo that released earlier this year, which I'm not sure if anyone remembers this, but it was trash. Like, it was bad. It was ugly to look at. It was not fun. The menus sucked. Just did not look good in any way, but they made specific mention that they listened to everybody and they have cleaned up considerably. So we'll see if they're holding true to that on March 4th of 22. One of the biggest things of Nintendo Direct that I was so happy to see more of is Metroid Dread. It is the closest thing to Metroid Prime 4 that we will likely ever get, and we got some more information on it, as well as a more intense trailer. I guess it's kind of the best way to put it. I need this fucking game. Like, no, listen, I really need it. And as a huge fan of like Metroidvanias and Metroid as a whole, this is everything. We got to see some snippets of the planet ZDR that this is all kind of taking place on, and evidence of her parent aliens, the Chozo, existing there at some point, which if you're into the lore, you're in the know as far as Metroid goes. It's really fucking weird. Super cool, super ready to hear it and watch it. I need to know literally everything, and it breaks my entire soul that it comes out the same day as Back for Blood, for those of you that have the deluxe version, October 8th. And it is not fair that I'm going to have to split my time. I hate this. So they talked about more about what we saw kind of coming ahead of the curve. The N64 games are rolling in to Nintendo Online along with Sega Genesis games, which is nice. I myself grew up with both of those. And you can play multiplayer online. Mind-blowing. late October, we get all of that if we want to switch to their new membership plan. Though we don't know what the details of their new membership plan are for, I think it's 2 more weeks, something like that. They're also dropping wireless versions of the OG N64 controller and Genesis. So yeah, I mean, I love it. Just give me the big dumb pitchfork controller, man. I want to beat someone to death with it and eat my dinner.
I heard the Genesis one was only going to be in Japan, though. Is that correct?
They did not say as much on the Nintendo Direct.
Let me double check that. I think I saw an article floating around saying that those are only going to be available in Japan. But,
Super suck, because I would love to play Streets of Rage with my Genesis controller or Gunstar Heroes. And if that's true, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry about it. Oh man, Sonic, and then Sonic and Knuckles with the expansion cartridge.
Yeah, so according to
good.
Collider, Nintendo is making a 6-button Genesis controller for Switch, but only in Japan. Every
really
other region must stick with 3 buttons.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, that's that. So we still get the 3-button controller.
Yeah.
Wonder. We got shoulders. Got shoulders like the Super Nintendo. The Genesis really was. The Genesis controller was essentially a clone of the Super Nintendo controller, like almost 100%, except it was like maybe a little bit more rounded, a little bit bulkier, and then of course black. It was a nice controller. So that's strange that they didn't really make mention of exactly what that controller was going to, or the differences there. Or I wonder why they're doing that. But regardless, put down your controllers and head to the theaters, because the Mario movie is coming out. And wow, no, thank you. I really want to toss it to you guys. Like, what are your thoughts? I really don't care for video game movie adaptations at all. The last Mario movie wasn't stellar.
It's gonna be.
Oh my god!
It's got Chris Pratt as Mario, Charlie Day as Luigi, and Jack Black.
Charlie Day being Danny's like celebrity doppelganger.
Yeah,
honestly.
And then Jack Black is Bowser. Just for the thrills of like hearing those people, say those voice lines, I'm in it. I'm in for it. I just want to see how it goes, especially Charlie Day as Luigi. Like, is he gonna put on an Italian accent or anything? Is he just gonna be like, guys? Oh my god, guys!
Yeah, how offensive? How offensive are the voice acting going to be?
Oh man, yeah, it's a spicy meatball.
Yeah,
like it's gonna be bad. I got a fan. I was a fan of how I can't remember the fella's name that actually like kind of is the spokesperson for Nintendo Direct, but he was like, I'm really excited to hear Jack San as Bowser, and I'm like, thank you, English man.
And
Jack
Seth
San.
Rogen.
Yeah. Seth Rogen.
It's gonna be Donkey Kong, and like now, every time I see a picture of Donkey Kong or think of Donkey Kong, all I hear is that Seth Rogen laugh.
Yeah. Keegan-Michael Key is also going to be Toad.
Oh yeah. It's a weird cast. It's definitely an interesting cast. So, I believe it's going to be animated. So.
Yeah, I mean, like that's like the final note that I made was just, I'm really happy it's at least going to be animated, so that we don't have to deal with like the weirdness of it not being animated.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, a live action Mario movie with Chris Pratt as Mario, just a ripped Mario, like
sounds awful to me.
Star-Lord, but with
really
a mustache,
fucking...
like that scene in Guardians of the Galaxy where like they're doing the pan of showing Chris Pratt just shredded. But just imagine that with a mustache and a hat that has an M on it.
No, I don't want to imagine that.
I want to imagine that every day until I die.
I'm gonna take my paintbrushes and jam them into my eyes.
That sounds like a terrible poster that could be made by awful fan made posters on Twitter.
I'm gonna do it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna Photoshop
for
it,
sure.
and I'm excited.
Oh boy, yeah. Well, make sure I can see it, I guess, because I've already seen enough dumb shit in my life. I guess I'll see that too. But yeah, that's really all I had as far as that movie goes. I do not give two flying shits. It's so bad. Did you have any passing thoughts?
Not really. The Nintendo Directs always feel lackluster to me. Like they put out so many of them that it's like they don't have any excitement for me. I really do enjoy seeing the salt and despair of Smash players, because that community, like, at the slightest provocation will erupt into nothing but
Sweat,
vitriolic piss and vinegar, like,
and body odor,
and body
Axe
odor,
body spray,
and weird amounts of grooming. It's funny, it's funny. There's a lot of grooming in the Smash players community, but it's never of themselves. They never groom themselves. They're only grooming minors.
Touche.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah, strange, curious, even
curious.
That we're like literally on the same wavelength as far as that goes. I have Smash Ultimate. I enjoy playing it. I will never get into that scene. I have friends that have been in that scene that I don't even know if they still are, but it's never really been interesting to me as far as like getting into that as a fighting game. There's literally two final things for the Direct. One is I hear a ton of people love Splatoon. I never gave it a shot, but it seems to be a pretty fun PvP team shooter. I'm really excited for all of you that love it. It has some pretty sick looking visuals, and I'm not sure if it's enough to pull me in quite yet, but Splatoon 3 drops sometime in 2022. Hopefully that's pretty sick for you guys, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last thing that they kind of talked about was kind of wild, but not outside the realm of like the new old norm of Nintendo games. We saw some demons show up, some sick ass gunplay. Wait a fucking minute. Is that the fucking dog from Astral Chain? Is this Astral Chain 2? Oh my fucking god, it's Bayonetta. What the fuck? Bayonetta 3 gameplay? It's been 1,500 days without any news. And you drop this fucking trailer? Oh my fucking god, what? Yeah, that's about how that went. By the end of it, I had literally nothing left to give. My insides melted. They drained out of all my holes. I sat there like just dead for a solid 5 minutes, just empty for many reasons before I reassembled. And however, I'm not holding my breath. They gave us a 2022 release date, which means it's been literally 5 years between it was announced and when it will be released, supposedly, if everything goes smoothly. There's also a Virgil clone there at the end. Virgil from Devil May Cry. I mean, like, he's just there, cuts the moon with a katana, looks over his shoulder, and you're like, I've seen this shit before. There is just a little bit of an idea that Bayonetta 3, in order to move on, has swallowed everything that Brent would know this. There was another Platinum Games like just singular title supposed to come out for the Xbox One, I think back in like 2015 actually, and it's never going to come out. Like you controlled a dragon, like you and the dragon were part of one. You listen to music and you got a cool sword.
Oh yeah,
Scalebound. That's what it is. I thought about it all by myself. Haha, I didn't need you, Brent. Anyway, so yeah, people are thinking that Bayonetta 3 has completely swallowed up Scalebound. So yeah, I honestly think that's probably the case. But that was the whole Nintendo Direct. Hopefully that's condensed enough for all of you. I'm really stoked. There were, of course, many indie titles, many retro titles that were coming. They also have a full breakdown of all the N64 games that are initially going to come out. F-Zero is on there, as well as Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Mario Party, Mario Kart, just name a few. Donkey Kong 64 is on there as well. I think there's actually only like a total of 8 N64 games that are going to initially drop, but they have that full list if you check out Nintendo's site, and you can already pre-order the N64 controller and the Sega Genesis controller. I did not check the prices on those, but it's Nintendo, so I'm assuming they're probably the price of like a normal controller, even though they came out, like 25 years ago. So I don't know. What do you guys have? Like, is there anything that stood out to you, Green, Danny?
For me, not really. I mean, the closest really was the Final Fantasy thing. I know we got some Pokemon news, like after the fact, but I haven't checked that out yet, and it wasn't anything that I think was worth really mentioning, really at all.
There's more of them now.
Yes.
Go get them.
Green, how about you?
I honestly, nothing really stood out to me. I'm kind of just tired of like the unnecessary hype behind the Smash Bros character reveals. Like,
super stoked for that to die.
yeah, it's very very unnecessary. Like, and they act like they're giving us like such a service by like drop like, here's the new Smash Bros character, and like there's like a small group of people online that just like freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why are you putting so much like expense into like revealing these characters? Like the whole world is gonna melt at their feet.
I've often heard it like kind of drawn akin to video game character Emmys. Like when you make it into Smash, now your character's really made it. It doesn't really necessarily make any fucking sense whatsoever. And the characters that they grab also don't make any sense. I think that it's hilarious, however, that Waluigi has never been a playable character, likely will never be a playable character. And all they have to do is drop him as a quote unquote echo fighter of Luigi if they want to, even though Wario has his own character style. They could just do Waluigi as an echo fighter of Wario as well. But there's so many iconic Nintendo characters, but you could see as soon as like say Smash 4 that they just decided to kind of go way off the deep end and go and live in Hype Town by making people think, oh shit, sky's the limit. Are we going to see Goku in Super Smash Bros?
Yeah.
Cloud's here. Sephiroth is here. Who the fuck is next?
Steve
it
from
doesn't make any
Minecraft.
sense. Steve from Minecraft is here, along with Creeper, and I'm waiting to see who it is. And I hope that there is just a massive final collective sigh across all of the internet, and everyone can just say, well, we can finally leave now. All those hashtag react YouTube channels can just also go with them.
Yeah. So looking at our time here, we have a few more things to talk about. Do we want to take a break quick?
Be nice.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, guys, give us 2 minutes. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. And we've got some news from the EU and the UK to talk about. So give us 2 minutes and we'll get right into that after this break. Thanks for listening to the podcast. This year, I'm bringing you guys even more merch featuring a simple black design with our new logo. Get a classic Eco Tee for $18. Stay warm and cozy with our classic crew neck sweatshirt for $20. And stay cool with our tank tops for only $15. And of course, it wouldn't be a new merch lineup without some mugs. Get our new mug for $10. And brand new to our merch lineup, get a 20-ounce stainless steel tumbler for only $20. Prices subject to Teespring fees plus shipping and handling. For more information, see the link in the episode description. Thanks for listening to the podcast. This year, I'm bringing you guys even more merch featuring a simple black... All right, and we are back. So, yeah, let's get into some news here because we got some interesting news. Mostly related to technology and to our friends across the pond. So starting out here, the EU may be enforcing some new USB standard regulations. The European Commission has announced plans that will begin forcing device manufacturers to change their charging ports to fit the standard USB-C input. Devices that would be affected include cell phones, tablets, laptops, and other electronics that have charging ports on them, but it only covers wired charging ports. Not wireless. So if a device charges only through wireless charging, then it's not covered by this new regulation. And yes, some of you might be wondering, it does include Apple devices. Quote, chargers power all of our most essential electronic devices. With more and more devices, more and more chargers are being sold that are not interchangeable or not necessary. We are putting an end to that. With our proposal, European consumers will be able to use a single charger for all of their portable electronics, an important step to increase convenience and reduce waste, Thierry Breton, an EU commissioner, said. The cited reason by the European Commission is to cut down on e-waste, but a lot of outlets and industry analysts are also mentioning the monetary benefits for customers, as they won't be forced to buy proprietary device cables in order to charge their devices, right? Anyone who's old enough, thinking about the early cell phone market, remembers not so fondly having to take your charger everywhere, and God forbid you forgot your charger on a fucking trip because there was no guarantee you're gonna be able to get one, and like your friend wasn't gonna have a cable that you could get. It was like limited to the, I think sometimes it was even limited to the phone you had. It sucked.
You got like Motorola cables, LG cables.
Yeah.
You know, like they were, very much so proprietary, and nothing would fit them, and they were all shaped so fucking strange.
Yeah. Right around, I think 2009, 2010, a lot of the Android market started getting standardized to micro USB. Right? Not 2009, 2010. I'm sorry, 2011, 2012. Sorry. Yeah, that was just a little fuck up timeline wise, but yeah, I think it was like 2010, 2011. A lot of Android devices started getting standardized to USB, micro USB. If this law becomes law, manufacturers will have 24 months to get into compliance. But of course, not everyone is happy with this, and notably the aforementioned Apple, who for years has resisted changing their devices from USB to USB-C from their proprietary Lightning cable, despite calls from customers. A lot of customers have been calling for this for several reasons. First off, there is the e-waste and the fact that it's not standardized across all phones. That is an issue, but also Lightning is still USB 2.0 technology, not 3.0 technology. So they are limited into what they can do with it, I suppose, is a big part of the issue. Apple said, quote, "We remain concerned that strict regulation mandating just one type of connector stifles innovation rather than encouraging it, which in turn will harm consumers in Europe and around the world." Before we get into our takes, I really do want to hear from our audience. Let us know in the chat, the comment section, or even tweet at us. What do you guys think this will actually stifle innovation? I really want to know. I'm going to go on ahead and give my take, and then I'll kind of move around the table. From an environmental perspective and for a consumer perspective, I think this is generally a good move. I have a really hard time seeing it as a bad thing for either the environment or for general consumers. From an innovation and progress point of view, I'm not really sure what to think. Personally, I don't really buy Apple's argument, because they haven't innovated on the technology that's already there, right? Like the USB standards have improved since the Lightning cable came out, and they haven't changed the basic core tenets of that design since they released it in 2014, right? It's like for the Apple mobile devices specifically, it's only been a 40-pin connector or the USB, the Lightning connector. That technology hasn't changed at all. That hasn't been innovated on. And they've been running on it for probably close to, I think it's 8 years now. I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, I would say about 8 years at least.
Yeah, someone can fact check me on that, but I'm I feel really confident on that number. But yeah, so it's like they haven't changed the technology. So what are they actually innovating on? I don't know. I don't buy that argument from them. If it was anybody else, I would buy that argument. But it's Apple. I'm not buying that argument from them.
Nice. It's proprietary.
Yeah, it really
innovating.
We are running out of innovative ways to charge our customers and sell a standard for our own devices. Because they have to license out that standard out to other manufacturers and say this is how you meet our standard, right? I have an on Lightning cable on my desk right now that's connecting my phone to a power source, right? On had to get like licensing and pay for that information to set up that to make sure that they're meeting Apple's standards so the device works properly and that my device charges and transfers data appropriately, right? They have to get that information from Apple. So I don't buy that argument from them. Green, what do you think?
I would say that it's nice that like they see that as an issue, like the government sees that as an issue, and like are willing to put like regulations in there. I just don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't like government regulations as it is. But like I get where they're coming from, and I get like the standardization. Standardization is great. I just feel like I wish it didn't have to come to like a government thing to make it a reality. You know.
Yeah.
But other than that, like they have good intentions, and that's what matters. So.
Yeah. I am kind of curious to see how this would even affect users and customers outside of Europe.
Yeah.
Would Apple take the easy way out on this and just standardize everything to either, here's what I see them doing, either conforming to USB-C or getting rid of the charge port altogether, and it's just
Wireless.
and it's just wireless charging.
You know, and that's ironic too, because like, when my fiance got a new iPhone, she asked like, "Hey, is the phone like, is it a different cord? Do I need to buy a different charger?" And the guy at the store was like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to buy a different charger because it's now USB Type C." But in all reality, the block was USB Type C. Her Lightning cable block Lightning cable to USB A works just as good.
Yeah.
But they like swindled into her buying a new block that was USB Type C to Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
Because Apple doesn't include chargers in their phones anymore, fuckers. So yeah, it's just like I would like to see Apple, standardize like worldwide.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mendacii, what do you think?
So, like many things, Danny, you and I are very, very aligned on this. I mean, Green's right there too. I don't think that there's any reason that the government necessarily needs to come in and tell a company this is how you have to standardize it. I think that what they kind of have to do as a government is just kind of keep an eye on things. We didn't need the government to come in way back when you had actually kind of talked about the proprietary chargers, such as like we talked about Motorola, LG, so on and so forth. It's just Apple being a dinosaur, man. That's what they like to do. And if they can turn this around into a profit, then absolutely they will. We've also seen that these newer chargers, well, they charge quicker, they're more efficient. There's really no downside to just accepting new technology. You don't have to be the one that came up with it. You just have to be able to move forward with the times. And when you had said, I bet, almost half joking, I bet you were only half joking, if half joking, that they would actually go completely wireless. I could absolutely see them go with a wireless charger, the iCharge, and so now, not only did you before have to buy a charging cable and block in order to charge your brand new phone out of box, now you would actually have to go and buy something that's closer to, let's say, $70 to $100, the wireless Apple product charger, or iMat, whatever the hell that they would probably call it. That would just be so. I can see it happen.
I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can proprietize wireless charging.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, they can come out with an Apple brand wireless charger, and just be like, yeah, we don't have any cables now, and so I don't know. I always thought that I had thought that it was ridiculous at first when they had the charging, like when everyone decided to get rid of aux cable ports, you have to do this, extra hookup. There's going to be some people in the chat. They're going to say their charger is super fast, but it's not your cable doing the work. It's the massive block that is a supercharger that's soaking up all that delicious electricity for you. You're still using an inefficient cable to do it. Again, like we're just talking about waste here and moving on with the times. I think that this is silly, but I also think that it's definitely not the government's place to do such a thing.
I think there's a difference. Like, obviously, like as Americans, we have that idea. Europe has a very different way of thinking about that, and that's like a cultural difference.
It's a cultural difference that I don't get behind.
Yeah, but it's also one of those things. It does kind of suck that the EU does guide a lot of consumer choices for people around the world. Because this could be very easily, would Apple just create new phones and sell EU specific phones to meet this regulation, or would they just change it over for global systems? Right, that's the thing. That is a different topic altogether. That is.
You would think they would get behind USB Type C though, because I believe like in every test that I've heard of, that the USB-C transfer rate is better than the Lightning cable.
It's not about that though. It's never been about that.
Oh yeah, that's like money. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing though. It's like, Lightning cables used to have chips in them on the tips. So if you weren't using a licensed brand Lightning cable, it wouldn't work with your phone because that chip wasn't communicating with the phone.
Yeah.
That's how shiesty Apple is. And one of the reasons why I fucking hate Apple's products is because they're so concerned with that extra nickel and diming on top of selling you a fucking $1,000 phone that only costs them, maybe $100 to make and produce, right?
And that you give them money every time you make a purchase with it.
Yeah, it's the nickel and dime issue that like makes me hate Apple so fucking much.
Yeah.
Like I can pick up any USB Type C and throw it in my Samsung right now. My Samsung ain't gonna give a fuck. But Apple, they're like, oh, you're not using our cable. That's a second-hand cable. That's an aftermarket. Fuck you. You ain't charging your phone. Fuck you. So like, it's the janky shit like that pisses me off about Apple.
Yeah.
Just fucking do it and stop being bitches.
Anything else on this?
Fuck Apple. I didn't get to say it a few weeks ago. I'm getting to say it now.
I'm think that they're going to continue to be dinosaurs as long as it can make money. I feel like most people who buy Apple products, they have one very specific reason that they like to, whether it's camera or they just like the OS or the image that it brings forth when you do buy them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that's the whole thing. I think everyone is single issue consumers when it comes to Apple.
Yeah. Well, let's go on ahead and move on to our last story of the week. UK advertising standard guidelines are changing a little bit, specifically in relation to premium currencies. So, right, if you guys have played any free games, you've seen premium currencies. Apex coins, V-Bucks, a million games use gems, Robux. These currencies are often used for skins or even game-affecting items, like if you're playing Duel Links. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. If you purchase these on a regular basis, the currencies are not always one for one. And you can sometimes get leftover cash stuck into whatever game you're playing. But if you live in the UK, that could be changing a little bit thanks to the Advertising Standards Authority. They are seeking to make it more clear how much cash you'll be spending with your in-game currency through some new guidelines. They basically want it so that you are displayed how much you're being charged. So if you're buying 100 gems for $1 and buy an item worth 80 gems, these guidelines state that the game would need to advertise to you that the item has a real-world value of 80 cents. Of course, by design, though, these systems aren't really made so cut and dry. which can easily become a problem for consumers who get stuck putting money into games and are unable to get the value from them. So the whole set of guidelines really comes with some caveats, including that the ASA cannot punish companies with fines or fees who fail to disclose costs. Rather, they can only call them out. Also complicating the matter is that some games, like my previously mentioned Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, allow you to earn premium currency through gameplay. Additionally complicating this is that you can buy premium currency in bulk in a lot of games, right? So if I pay $90, I can get $110. If I pay $90 up front for this bundle, I can get $110 in premium currency. Make sense, right? So really it's more of it makes that difficult to determine what the actual value is of the premium currency and of the in-game items, because there's enough of a factor there that changes the value of the premium currency on its own. In-game play, bulk purchasing, both affect the ratio of real life to in-game currency. But for now, as this is kind of a new set of guidelines that are coming out, it really remains to be seen how beneficial this will be for players. If any publishers and devs really follow these guidelines, again, because the ASA can't punish people for not following these guidelines. And then outside of the UK into the rest of Europe or stateside, we'll see if anything changes, if we see any changes in the UI. I highly doubt it. But I am going to be keeping my eye on this to see if there are any results out of this. But I really do want to know what you guys think. Do you guys find yourself in that situation a lot where you don't know exactly how much you're spending in a game? Let me know in chat, comments, tweet at us, all the good shit. I'm going to start with Mendacii right now. What do you think about this situation?
Okay, so everyone remembers Star Wars Battlefront 1, right? All that debacle. I'm just going to assume that maybe you do, maybe you don't.
You mean the game that came out in 2004 and there's no such thing as a reboot of ever?
Right.
You mean that game?
Yeah.
My childhood?
Sure. Yeah. When we had to deal with the microtransactions here, and then they're it's okay, all right, yeah, we won't do that. We won't do microtransaction shit to buy loot boxes and so on and so forth. Then we looked at, well, it costs some crazy exuberant amount of money, right? Then Star Wars Battlefront 2, it got maybe a little bit cheaper, but it still cost $2,100 to unlock everything. The thing is that while that can be kind of looked at as gambling, and we have what is it, the Game and Trade Commission or something like that? I can't quite remember who takes care of gambling and stuff like that. And so that was also questioned, I believe, in the EU as well. May be wrong on that account, but this almost feels the exact same way, except there's not really a chance. It's so dicey and so dirty, man. What is so hard about just using a current, you get around what you make say PlayStation deal with the what would you, the transfer rate or something bullshit like that, where you take say pounds or euros and you turn that into bright dust or silver, you know what I mean, for say Destiny 2 to buy your aesthetics. And so you spend X amount of euros, you get so much silver. You then use that in me, that is dirty, man. And it's just like
we
all those
lost you there
other
for a
mobile
second.
games.
We-
Oh, dang it.
Um,
So what was the last thing that you heard?
I wasn't quite sure. I think I heard you say something was super dirty.
Oh yeah, yeah. So it's basically super dirty to have people just say, "Oh, you need 1,000 silver for this." That's another thing that's really messed up, is that you're assuming that, say, we'll just use Destiny 2's silver in their Eververse, right? For we'll just say like Sparrow. So we want to get a cool new Sparrow, and we have to spend 500 silver, and we're playing here in the Midwest. Okay, is that Sparrow 500 silver in the EU? Is it 500 silver in, say, Mexico? How about, literally anywhere else? How much is 500 silver in every single country? You're forcing everyone to pay more or less money depending on where they live. That's kind of my understanding of it, at least. So that's pretty just downright gross. And something does need to be looked at as far as that goes, because they're gouging some places or players or just people in general, while the others don't see as much of a bruising. Maybe not as bad as they had to kind of come down on loot boxes, but it's getting insane. People are literally putting their houses up in order to pay off credit cards because they just click the button when they need more of the premium currency so they can get more of the waifu cards. I need more waifu cards. So now I live in a box.
Yeah. Green, what do you think?
Well, I like the idea. It's really hard to enforce, and then like I see Mendacii's point as well. It's like there's so many discrepancies between like country to country on what is that value worth of that product, that in-game currency, because the U.S. dollar is different from the euros or pounds or even the Canadian dollar and pesos. So, like, what distinguishes the value of that product between each country and each game and stuff like that? It's can be pretty difficult to work on, and I don't know how well that will work out for that policy.
Yeah, especially being an unenforceable policy.
Yeah. I even put a policy up if you're not going to enforce it.
Well, it's not a policy as much as it is guidelines. They're saying this is the best practices that you should follow.
Hey, please listen to me.
Yeah. So yeah, again, we don't even know the effects of it yet. So we'll have to talk about that at a later time when we know the effects. Guys, I'm looking at the time here. We're running like a little long here, so I think it might be time to wrap it up.
Can we walk away with like explosions behind us and stuff?
Yeah, as long as we don't look at them, because remember, cool guys don't look at explosions.
Never look back.
Never look back. All right, okay. Mendacii, what do you got coming up on your channel, dude?
I'm hoping that the tower gets finished this week if we have enough time. I am getting just slogged at my day job. So when I have time, if I have time, I would love to jump back into Monster Hunter, especially after the hype of Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. Otherwise, you can catch me playing some more, probably Aliens, Fireteam, and Destiny 2. I got to play a Nightfall with Green.
One whole Nightfall.
Yeah, one whole Nightfall. It was pretty great, but yeah, with the current setup, we don't have a way to actually communicate well. He can hear me. I can't hear him because of the crossplay. So that's cool. Otherwise, Just waiting for Back for Blood and Metroid Dread, man. Otherwise, yeah, there's going to be content up on podcasts for two people. We'll be doing a whole bunch of fucking spooky movies for Halloween. So check that out as well. And if you want to see some gross hot takes and just generally see how I'm doing as a human, you can check out the Twitter. And that's Mendacii_TTV, I believe, on the Twitter. I have recently changed it. Yeah. Otherwise, just kicking it, Danny.
Nice. Greeley, you're up.
I recently acquired the video game A New World that everyone is freaking out about. Tried playing it today. I played a little bit, and then I logged out and then logged back into a server queue of over 8,000. So, you know, that kind of stuff. I'll be fighting server queues this week as well as playing some Destiny. Not much change other than New World in the rotation. I'm sure I'm probably going to get some Hunt Showdown in there as well. At the weekend. So yeah. Other than that, you catch me twitch.tv/Mr. Green Elite. And then also on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as Mr. Green Elite, except for Instagram, which is TB Mr. Green Elite. If you want to buy some dope ass properties, you can go to Mr. Green Elite and on Instagram, with Elite Properties. But if you're looking for me, it's TTV Mr. Green Elite. So
Excellent. Coming up on my channel, I'm not quite sure. Probably some Hunt Showdown over the weekend. Maybe I'm not sure what I'll be doing for Single Player Sunday, so I just wrapped up Metro Exodus. I am very tempted to do the Dread X collection. For this month. For Single Player Sundays. So Mendacii seems to be very excited about the Dread X collection.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it. There's some terrifyingly awesome shit in there, dude. I think you'd really enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, and what Rev said when he reviewed all of them is he absolutely fucking loved them. So that's what I'm kind of thinking. That's what I'm leaning on doing for this month. Each weekend we'll go through and see what we can find in the Dread X collections. Speaking of coming up this month, we are in talks to do a couple of one-shots. So we'll see when those can happen. Also, don't forget my Spookathon. Write a scary story, any length, submit it, and you'll the best story will get a $50 Amazon gift card. Best story is decided on by the audience during the live stream for the Spookathon, which will be October 31st, my birthday.
I am 99% sure I'm the back-to-back reigning champion with that. So come at me.
Yeah, so it is.
If you think you can win.
It is the 4th annual Spookathon. So come on by, guys. Come on by. Get your story submitted early. And then join us on October 31st for that. Otherwise, guys, you can find me on YouTube. On Daniecae Media. You can also find me on TikTok, Daniecae Media. I actually posted a TikTok. I posted 2.
I'm so proud of you. Now I just need to post a YouTube video, so we're like we can both be proud of each other.
Yeah. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram under the name Daniecae, DANIECAE. Other than that, guys, we're gonna wrap up the show here. Appreciate you for watching and listening. Thanks. Seriously, it means a lot to us that you guys take the time to watch and listen. If you guys miss any part of the show, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found. Of course, we're not just interested in you guys' ears and eyes. We want to know stuff from you. This week, in honor of podcasters International Podcasting Day, we are asking you what podcasts are you enjoying lately, and you can let us know that in the YouTube comments, or you can tweet at us. Really, we do want to hear from you guys, and don't be afraid to tag those podcasts. If you guys want to join us live, you can join us live on Twitch every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. If you guys like what we do, drop a like, subscribe, ring that bell. It helps us out a ton on YouTube. But the number one way you can help us, yes.
I forgot I'm doing a charity stream tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Plug out your charity stream quick.
St. Jude's charity stream. I don't know how long I'm going to do it. I'm probably going to do as long as I can. But tomorrow, starting at noon.
Yes.
I just remembered. I don't know why. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, guys, go support Green on that. And if you want to help support us on the show, number one way to do that is by telling your friends. Guys, until next week, stay safe, stay healthy, keep fighting the good fights, and we'll talk to you guys again next week. Goodbye.
Stay spooky.
Love you.